And welcome back to another fasting check-in. I am Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E, and the E stands for endocrinology. And right now, I am 56 hours deep into this week's fast. That's right, we're heading to 72 hours, but we're 2/3 of the way in. You've pushed through, if you've been with me, you've pushed through a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, 72-hour fast, or you are right now ending your fast or getting ready to start the fast with us as we move into the final phase of our fasting episodes or fasting process for this week. You've outlasted the urges. And right now, your body is doing something incredible. Today, we're talking about inflammation, that silent fire that underlies so many of our health challenges. The joint pain, the blood sugar spikes, the brain fog, the slow healing, the stubborn weight, right, that's there, the autoimmune flares. And here's the good news. Right now, at this time, in your body, if you're with me, in your fast, that fire is being extinguished. And so we're going to spend some time talking about how we can pull back the curtain to see what's been going on as a result of our fast. Hey, as I said, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. If you're new to me, that's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are creating the life we've always wanted. And we're living that limitless life that says that we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are presenting our best selves, our best health, and our best plans for our lives. We're talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to get off of their diabetes medication, and all of those who are on the spectrum, right? That metabolic spectrum, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, obesity, metabolic syndrome, coronary artery disease, and on and on and on. And I'm glad that you're here. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I'm happy that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and put those questions into the comments because we want to make sure that we get to those as we move through the episode. And we're going to be taking a look at some very important things here as we move through. And we get the very first thing that we're going to do actually is that we're going to be taking a look at my monitors. I've got my Keto Mojo and my my Contour monitor. And then right below me, you'll see there, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report that we will look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugars. But we are in the throes, y'all. We are in the process of improving our health. We're in the process of improving our metabolism, which is that underlying problem that causes all of our issues. And I want to make a plug for our MOVE campaign. That's metabolic optimization via exercise. Remember, dysfunctional metabolism is the thing that causes the problem. And right now, what we want to do is we want to improve that. And a big component of what we're doing as we move through the health action plan is that MOVE campaign. The walking and the strength training combined together, they provide an awesome and an amazing way of beginning to get that metabolism working the way we want it to work. So make sure that you are joining us every morning at 6 a.m. That's right, every morning at 6 a.m. Right now we are in, day number 40 of our process, right? 40 in this series. We did the 100-day walk to consistency beginning a little over 150 days now ago. And so now we are continuing the strength training. So make sure you join us. If you've not done that yet, join us. It provides a structured way for you to come aside and say, I am doing what I need to do to be healthy and to set myself up for the best possibility of success. Okay? So make sure you do that. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars so that we can see what's been happening. And here is what my Freestyle Libre says my blood sugar is right now. It's 67. And you see that's what the blood sugar right about there. And then further down, you'll see this is my graph for today. And you see for the first part of the day, up to about maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock, my blood sugar was hovering right near 100, below 100. And then right about 2:30, 3 o'clock, it dropped below 70. And that's the red line that you're seeing there. Let's go ahead and look at what my Dexcom is saying. And so there it is, sensor warm up is done. So my Dexcom, and you'll see a big gap there in the middle of the day. And well, let's start here. So my blood sugar right now is 96. You'll see down here is my graph, and you'll see that right around 8 o'clock, my sensor expired, and I didn't change it until later in the day. And anyway, we'll take a look to see what my blood sugars. I can actually run my finger, and you can see what those numbers were up until it ended. And then right around here, we picked it up again. That was this afternoon at 87, and this is where we are right now, okay? If I pull this up, you'll see that my average blood sugar, according to this, is 101 with a glucose management indicator of 5.7. And we'll take a better look at this when we look at the Dexcom Clarity Report. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at my monitors. Okay, so here is my Keto Mojo and let me get this one off the screen. Maybe that one, yeah. Keto Mojo and my Contour. So let's go ahead and grab a strip from our handy dandy container. And I need a brown one and a blue one. So brown is blood sugar and blue, of course, is ketones. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? Right, so we've been fasting now for 56 hours. And I'll need to grab one of these guys. I'm going to take two because, you know, the times when I don't take two, then I end up needing them. And then here is the test strip for the Contour. So go ahead and get that in. And I do see some of our community members out there, so we'll say hello there in just a minute. All right. And let's go ahead and open this. And this one is the blood sugar monitor. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right, and let's get that one in. And I'm going to put this one off to the side because I'm going to open that one in just a minute. But let's grab and here is my lancet. Grab a finger, and look at that. I didn't even look at a particular part of the finger. I just started stabbing. Hopefully that gets me good enough. Maybe. Okay, there we are. Okay, so that one's there. I need 2 more drops, one for the Contour, and then I'll need a drop for. Okay, so 72 is what the 72 is what the Keto Mojo says. 74 is what the Contour says. You'll see there on the screen. You'll also see my Freestyle Libre, and the Freestyle Libre says that my blood sugar is 64. Let's go ahead and get this in for the test strip for the ketone. And let's go ahead and get another drop. Come on. I just need one more. I think I may have let it dry too much. Okay, let's see. Did it? Okay, hopefully that helps. And I may need to go back if that doesn't give us a good number. Okay? All right, so let's get this over so you can see it a little better. And ketones are 1.3. Yay! Okay, 1.3. Remember, ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above that is therapeutic ketosis. So when we're in fasting, we want our ketones to be above you want it to be 1.5 or higher. 1.5 or higher. One of the things that we have not looked at, and let me do something here really quickly, and I'm going to pull that up. One of the things that we have not looked up at is actually having those come over into the Keto Mojo app. And let's go back here, and I'm gonna go ahead and get get all those synced. So we've not spent any time really talking recently about, and right now it says error. Let's try again. Let's see what we got. We've not talked about the graphs. Okay, so I'm gonna let that go ahead and sync. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and let's look at my report. This is my Dexcom Clarity Report right here. And you'll see that my average blood sugar right now is 102 with a glucose management indicator of 5.8. So that means if I were to get an A1C, I would expect it to approximate a 5.8. Okay. And then I'm in target 100% of the time, which is what you see here. And the target range is 70 to 180. Now, as I've said before, I usually tell my patients I want their blood sugars, their target blood sugar is actually 100 to 120. And there probably needs to be some discussion about that, because a normal blood sugar for a non-diabetic, I shouldn't say non-diabetic, but a normal blood sugar for everybody on the planet is 70 to 99. That's normal. Okay? How then do we say, hey, your range is 70 to 180? And it has to do with the devices, has to do with safety, it has to do with regulation. But your body doesn't know that we decided that you could be at 120, for example, right? The body still thinks that you're going to be at 99. So just because we said that you can be there, the body is still having issues when your blood sugar is higher. So that's a whole conversation. All right, so let's see. Let's go back here. So finally it synced, and let's see what we got. All right, so 72 was my blood sugar, 1.3 my ketones, with a glucoketo index. And the glucoketo index is just a ratio of the glucose to the ketones, right? So divide those two and you get a glucoketo index. So we want glucose to be low, because that means that we're not putting anything in. We want ketones to be high. That means the body is now burning fat and producing ketones. And we want the glucoketo index also to be as low as possible, right? So the ratio of the two, we want that to be as low as possible. So let's hop back over here. And so if I go to a 90-day average, you'll see here that my average for 90 days is 109. Once again, we tell people we want it to be between 100 and 120. Glucose management indicator 5.9. And in target 96% of the time. If we look at my actual graphs, here's where we are right now at 56 hours of fasting, and we're 89, 70s. I think the highest we got there was a 105. Here's a 105, 101, 108. Here's a 110. And this big stretch here was me not taking the time to put the monitor on, because I said, hey, when I woke up this morning, I was going to take my shower and put it on, and I didn't put it on, and ended up getting to work, and then work. Oh my goodness, right? So, and then finally I was like, hey, you didn't put this thing on, so so there we are. But now going backwards, and this is all going on in the fast. Going backwards, you'll see that my blood sugar for this entire time, right, so 110, I think, was the highest that we saw there. Coming into the morning, 90s to 103, 102-ish, right? Yeah, highest there was 102. And so today is at 56 hours. So going back into yesterday, right, 80s, there's some 70s in there. This is when we did our check-in last night at 33 hours. Going back to 24 hours, we've been in the 90s, 96. And one of the important things here is the conversation that we had about when you start the fast and the things that you eat, preparing for the fast. And notice, so I started my fast right here, okay? So I ate my last meal, and for the most part, the blood sugars have been, let's see, maybe it's at a higher end, I'll give like 110 maybe, 112. So throughout that entire time, right? So since I ate and since I started fasting, we've been in the low 100s and actually dipping down into the 80s. And I think I saw a 70 in there somewhere. And all of this is a function, of course, of the process that we're in. We're talking about the health action plan, right? So walking, the tier 1, walking and fasting, strength training and balanced bites, right? So we want to make sure that we're eating, the things that we're eating are not causing significant spikes in our blood sugar. So that's the whole idea. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to our, well, actually, maybe before I do that, let me go ahead and do a check-in, because I've not done a check-in over the last couple of times that we've met. And the check-in really, for me, helps as we think about where we are, where I am in terms of how I'm feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally, and those are important. So the three places where people tend to have the most difficulty are in these three areas. And if you'll recognize these are three areas that come from our domains of health, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, occupationally, socially, and relationally. So how am I feeling? The challenge for most people when it comes to the physical is the fatigue, the tiredness. Hey, when I fast, I feel tired. When I fast, I feel fatigued. When I fast, I feel like I'm walking through mud or quicksand. Right now, I'm not feeling any of that. I've been doing a good job of resting. In fact, last night, let's see, how many hours did I get last night? So last night, I went to bed right at probably midnight, 11:30, and didn't wake up until 6:30 this morning. Okay, so I got good sleep. The night before, did a good job of getting rest as well. So this week has actually been a very good week. Aside from the fact that we spent some time earlier in the week at the ER, but for the most part, actually pretty good, right? Getting good rest. Also, hydration, right? So doing a good job of hydration. So the other thing people will say they feel is palpitations, like the heart's racing, skipping a beat, feeling lightheaded, sweaty, woozy, those types of things. If you're not hydrated, your body still has to deliver energy to your cells, and it has to take waste products away. In order to do that, if you're not hydrating, in order to do that, it has to speed the process up. So it makes the heart go faster, makes the blood flow faster, and people feel that like their heart's racing. Okay, so if you're not rested and you're not hydrated, then that can have a profound effect on how you're doing physically. And then, of course, depending on how you're doing physically, that translates into and it impacts how you do mentally. Because you know that when you're tired, when you're dog tired, if you're not well rested, then your thought process is kind of off. People say, I feel foggy. I feel as though I'm walking through a bubble. I can't think. I can't calculate. My response time is slow. All of those, and we'll talk more about that when we talk about the next pillar of our health action plan. So right now, in terms of mentally, I'm actually feeling good because I'm doing a good job of the physical. And then, of course, emotionally, and this one for me this week has been a little challenging, because, like I said, we spent some time in the ER, and there's not a whole lot that causes me distress within the things that I do. But being in the ER with a family member who was not doing well really caused some concern. And so I have been kind of dealing with some of that even coming into these days. So emotionally, I've this week had to be very cautious so that I didn't keep all of that in. Okay, so good place to talk about this, by the way, and we'll do more about this when we talk about the full, when we do a full fasting review. How you prepare for the fast is very important in the fast. So for me, having people around me that I could express what was going on inside was a good way for me to make sure that I didn't begin buffering and that I didn't have any of those things in the heat model that were pushing me to eat things that I did not want to eat, that were not on my eating plan. Okay? So that is important. So when you're preparing for the fast, you are going to experience, let me say this, let me stop here. You're going to experience things. Life is going to happen. Right? You can have the perfect plan and life will happen. And when life happens, the question is, did you put some things in place that now allow you to move into those tools right? Those tools so that you can utilize them so that it doesn't derail you. The COPE model, for example, an amazing process. Clarify, observe, pause, and execute. So for me now, since we've been doing the strength training, yeah, when my brain starts going somewhere, I get out there and I start lifting some weights. It has become an amazing process for me. It's another one of the tools that I have now. Before we'd say, hey, go walk in, count to 10, count things and, count backwards, whatever it was. Now I have another tool that I can use. And so for me, that's been amazing. So that's how I'm doing. That's my check-in. And let's go ahead and say hello to some of our community members. And I see you guys out there. Let's see. And Bowie, hey, how are you? Thanks for coming through. Thanks for being with us. Says hi, everyone. And Pam says hi, Bowie. Steve. Steve has a question. So Steve, I'm going to hold on to that question. I'll come back to it here in just a minute. Bowie says hi, Pam, and hi, Steve. Pam says, hey, Steve. And Steve said, hello, everyone. Okay, yeah. So let's go ahead and let's answer Steve's question here right at the beginning. And Steve says, will you explain how Manjaro helps lower glucose? How Manjaro helps lower glucose. So, and I'm going to pop that one right there. Okay, there we go. So how does Manjaro help lower glucose? I'm going to talk about GLPs in general, okay? And so as I talk about GLPs, then Manjaro will fit into that. So the GLPs do 4 things. Number 1, they slow food as it moves through your GI tract. Number 2, it decreases sugar that comes out of the liver. Number 3, it helps your muscles to use sugar more effectively. And then number 4, if your pancreas is able to produce insulin, it tells your body or your pancreas to produce insulin. So all 4 of those, right? All 4 of those, whether I'm slowing the GI tract, right? So people feel fuller longer, so they don't eat as much, so blood sugar goes down. Or I tell the liver, hey, don't produce that much sugar. Don't release that much glycogen. Blood sugar goes down. Or I tell the muscles, hey, I want you to suck up more sugar. Blood sugar goes down. Or I tell the pancreas, hey, I need more insulin to lower the blood sugar. Blood sugar goes down. So those are the 4 ways that that all the GLPs help to lower blood sugar. So I hope that answers your question, Steve. All right. So let's go ahead and let's hop into our discussion as we are at 56 hours, y'all. What's going on at 56 hours in this week's fast? Let's go ahead and let's do that now. All right. So what's going on at 56 hours? Well, first of all, why are we concerned about this? Well, there are currently over 1 billion people on the planet that have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Over 1 billion. That doesn't take into consideration the people who currently also have coronary artery disease, people who are overweight or obese, people who have fatty liver, people who have had strokes, peripheral artery disease, people who have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I can continue going down that list. But dysfunctional metabolism is the problem. Dysfunctional metabolism. Metabolism, remember, is the way or the process the body takes food and converts it to energy. So when there is some dysfunction there, that is what causes our issue. And the culprit in all of that is the hyperinsulinemia. That is, the body produces too much insulin for the process that it has. And the example I give here, insulin is actually good. Let me say that. Let's put it out there. Insulin is good because the body requires insulin to manage blood sugar. But it's not that insulin is bad. It's that too much insulin is bad. Why is it bad? Well, it's when I was a kid, my mom would say, hey, she'd go away. She'd say, hey, clean the house. And there were 6 of us. And of course, 6 of us, we didn't clean the house. what we did, we played all day and whatever. So she's coming home now, and she may have called or something, and or when we lived in the apartment, she would come ring the bell, and somebody would say, "Hey, we're on our way," to go down and open the door, and the rest of us will be cleaning the house. Well, when she comes in, the house is spotless. Everything is right. She can eat off the floor. Well, where did all the stuff go? Well, if she opened a drawer, looked under her bed, or opened a closet, then here comes all the stuff. Well, insulin does a great job of cleaning the blood. So if I give you enough insulin, regardless of what you eat, if I give you enough insulin, your blood sugar is going to get normal. As a matter of fact, it may even go low. Well, here's the question. If I measure your A1C, and the A1C is great, and I measure your blood sugar, and the blood sugar is great because you're now in the target that we tell you, right? 100 to 120, or even maybe you're 70 to 99. Great blood sugar. Everything is perfect when it comes to blood sugar. Where did the sugar go? Well, it's just like at the house, right? Just like in the apartment. It's not on the floor, but it's somewhere. So high insulin is a switch. So insulin causes the body to store stuff. Well, where does it store it? Well, it puts it in the liver. That's called fatty liver, or metabolically associated steatohepatitis is the new name for it. Or it makes the blood vessels stiffer. Now that's called high blood pressure. Or it takes sugar, converts it in a way, and it packages it as fat, and that fat is now floating around your blood. It's called hypercholesterolemia. Because of those things, that predisposes the body or the coronary arteries to clogging or damage, inflammatory processes. That's called heart disease. Notice what's happening. It is all a function of the fact that I have too much insulin in the body. The blood sugars are great, but it has to go somewhere. And when it goes somewhere, then we have all of those downstream issues. So our goal, whenever we're talking about metabolism, our goal is to right the metabolism, get it back into the target range. And the thing that we are trying to do is we're trying to reduce the insulin. And all the things that we do in the health action plan, walking, when you start walking, your muscles begin sucking sugar up. When we fast, when we're fasting, we're hitting all of the pillars of our reversing diabetes. That is, we're decreasing insulin, we're suppressing the appetite, and we're reducing sugar. When we start weightlifting, when we start strength training, we are getting those GLUT4 receptors that are going to the surface, and they're just waiting there to suck sugar up without the use of insulin. So my ability to process the things I'm eating goes up without me having to take medication. And then when we nourish the body with what we're calling balanced bites, that is whole foods, minimum processing, no added sugar, starchy, non-starchy vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats, the appropriate portion sizes, when we do all of that, then we're righting the metabolism. And when we right the metabolism, all the diseases that we talk about, when we talk about chronic disease, all of those get better. And that's what we want. And a huge part of what we're doing right now in the fasting is with the idea of doing that. Well, tonight, what I want to talk about is, well, what's going on now that I'm fasting 56 hours? You fasted 33 hours. You're going to do 72 hours. What's going on in one of those silent places that we don't usually talk about? And that's what's happening with our metabolism and what's happening with our inflammation, right? So what is inflammation, and why should you care about inflammation? Well, when you hear the word inflammation, a lot of people think about swelling. They think about redness. They think about warmth, right? So you fall down and you sprain your elbow, you sprain your ankle, right? It's swollen, it's warm, and it's tender. But chronic inflammation, that's a quieter thing that most people don't know about or don't think about. And it's a far more dangerous and insidious process. It's like a low-grade fire that's smoldering in the background of the body. You can't see it. You might not even feel it right away, but it is damaging cells. It's causing a process, right? It's disrupting hormones. It's clogging the arteries. It's pushing your pancreas to work overtime because remember, inflammation decreases your body's ability to use the insulin that it makes. So what has to happen? Then the insulin has to go up. And we just said that the problem in chronic disease and metabolic disease is hyperinsulinemia, or more insulin than we need. So chronic inflammation is the root of nearly every chronic disease that we talk about. Type 2 diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver, dementia, and even some cancers. And here's the kicker. Chronic high insulin levels actually fuel the inflammation. And that's where fasting steps in. So what happens to inflammation during fasting? At 56 hours, which is where I am, into the fast, several powerful processes are now in place. They're activated now, right? So insulin levels have dropped because we're not eating anything, so the body doesn't have to produce insulin, or you don't have to take medications in order for your body to manage the sugar because we're not putting anything in. And insulin is a pro-inflammatory hormone when it's chronically elevated. Remember, normal insulin levels are fine because they do the work that the body needs. But when the insulin becomes too high, then it has a problem. Autophagy is in full swing now at 56 hours. This is the body's process of clearing the body or recycling broken, damaged, unused, misshapen, or malfunctioning cells. It takes them, it sends them off to recycling, it does some stuff to it, and it comes back as better, more functional, and appropriate parts of the body, right? So damaged proteins, cellular debris, it reduces the source of inflammation because we're cleaning all that stuff up and we're sending it off somewhere. Cytokines like interleukin alpha or interleukin 6 or TNF alpha, these are tumor necrosis factor. These start to decrease, and these are pro-inflammatory substances that are floating around the body. These are the molecules that keep your immune system in overdrive. And so what we're doing is we're decreasing that. This is all happening, y'all, in this amazing space when it comes to fasting. C-reactive protein, your inflammation marker, is going down so that when we check now, we're seeing improvements in the markers that signify that the body is inflamed. Your body is not just burning fat, it's actually cleaning house. It is in the process of healing. All of this as a benefit of fasting. So what you might feel, what are some of the things you might feel and what you should watch for? This is the point, this point right here, 56 hours, where some people start to feel clearer, lighter, less joint pain, improved mood. They think, oh man, I'm energetic. What's going on? So it's not just mental, it is chemical. Your cortisol levels are stabilizing. Your insulin resistance is improving. Your blood vessels are relaxing. Right? We said the high insulin causes stiff vessels. Your brain fog lifts because inflammation in the brain is cooling down. And if you've had some autoimmune issue, this is the stage where people often report fewer flares, less bloating, less pain, all of those. Your immune system, for the first time in a while, is starting to calm down. All of this as a result of fasting. So also, right, we protect the progress. Balanced bites, right, the things that we eat, come on now, the things that we eat, balanced bites, how we sustain the body, how we feed the body, how we fuel the body becomes important because we've cleaned it out. Remember, fasting is the clean out. It's like getting a house and the fasting guts it. It goes in and it breaks down walls. It throws away trash, right? It breaks down, takes out sheetrock. And now that the house is gutted, the things that you eat are the things now that get to rebuild the walls and gets to plaster and gets to paint and gets to put down carpet and hardwood. So let's talk about the post-fast. You've put the work in. You've endured the fast. Your inflammation has dropped. But if you break the fast with ultra processed food, sugary food, things that are highly refined, you're pouring gas back onto the fire. That's why we pair fasting and balanced bites together. Whole foods, no added sugar, smart fats or healthy fats, lean protein. That's how you extend the healing process, the healing window that comes from the fast. That's how you keep inflammation low. That's how you stay in the fat burning, insulin sensitive, brain clearing state. Fasting turns the fire off, and how we fuel it, the things that we eat, keeps the fire off. Now, this takes a little bit of change, right? It takes a mindset change. So you're not just fasting, you are actually healing. And so at this point into my fast, 56 hours, I want you to pause and I want you to reflect. You're not starving. I thought I couldn't fast. I thought I was going to be hungry. You're not depriving. You are strategically removing the things that inflame you and allow your body to do what it is built to do, and that is heal. And that's what fasting does. It gives your body time, it gives your body space and silence to restore itself. And so the next time you fast, remember that this moment, right, this moment right here, remember what this feels like. Remember this feeling. Remember the clarity. Remember the peace. Because it is your body's thank you for being in this space, for doing the things that you need to do, for saying, hey, I can do this. And so our goal, as we are talking about the various things that we're doing for fasting, our goal is to make sure that we are suppressing insulin at all costs. So here's what I want you to do. Right? Reflect on how you're feeling tonight, right now. If you ended a fast yesterday with us as we started, so 24 hours yesterday, if you are in a fast, if you are going into a fast, how are you feeling right now? Write one way that inflammation used to show up in your life. You maybe had joint aches, mental fog, fatigue, skin rash, whatever it is. And then we want to commit to protecting the progress that you're making with intentional re-entry into our eating. You've already done the hard work. Now we finish strong, right? We finish strong by now saying, okay, I'm going to do the things I need to do now that my fasting has helped me kind of clear things out. I'm going to do things I need to do to make sure that I'm not becoming pro-inflammatory again. The foods that we eat, remember, the food that we eat has more than just the calories. They are signals to the body, and the signals that we send are important in how the body regulates the things that it does. And so we pair those together. That is an amazing process that says, hey, I am taking charge of my health. I'm taking charge of my life. I'm walking through this pathway. Remember, the health action plan is a blueprint that if you follow it, it will lead you to metabolism that is corrected, and it will help to improve all of those downstream issues that we see when it comes to metabolism and dysfunctional chronic disease. And that's what we want to do. And that's what fasting is doing for us. Fasting is an amazing process that we are in the process of saying, how do we pair this with every other aspect of our health action plan? We'll continue talking more about fasting as we move through our discussions, and we'll be back to talk more about fasting, our health action plan, and how we can right our metabolism. All right. So if you were with us last night, you saw the episode where we talked about modifying our meals, right? So we walked through. If you've not looked at that episode, the one we did last night, that's a good one to look at, because essentially what we did was we took a menu, we took a 7-day menu, and we walked through it together and said, okay, what would I change? What do I like? What don't I like? One of the big places where we have difficulty is not that people don't want to. It's not that they don't have a desire to eat better. It is that they're just not really sure how to go about doing that. And so that episode kind of walked us through a 7-day menu, and we looked at the pictures together. We talked about some of the food together. We talked about what we would change. I talked about what I would change. And then one of the points that I made there that I want to make again is that one of the mistakes that we make, and when I say we, healthcare, is that we take the food that you are used to and we scrap it. We go home and throw everything out. And then we come up with a menu of foods that are supposed to be good, right? So these things are going to be healthy for you. They're going to protect you. They have all the things that we need for our metabolism and so forth. And that's great. And in fact, when we eat the food that we come up with, it actually a lot of times will help. Not an issue. But here's the thing. The food that's on that list has nothing to do with the food that I like to eat. It's not part of my culture. It's not part of my family history. It's not the stuff I've grown up on. It's not the stuff I like to eat. And so what we want to do whenever we're talking about balanced bites, and we'll come back and make another point of this and actually do a longer discussion, you want to start with the food that's in your cabinet. All right, come on now. When a lot of you are saying, oh, I thought I was supposed to throw all that stuff away. No. That's where we're starting. We go to the cabinet and we find the stuff that's in your cabinet right now. Because guess what? The stuff that's in your cabinet, that's the stuff you like. And we lay it out. And then now we start going through and we start looking at the food that's in our cabinet based on balanced bites. And remember what balanced bites says, right? So balanced bites, we're talking about whole foods, minimize the processing food, no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fats, starchy, non-starchy vegetables. That is what balanced bites is. And so balanced bite says, I'm taking the food that's in my cabinet at this moment, and I'm starting with that, and then I'm going down the list and saying, okay, this stuff that I have, what of the things I have in my cabinet can I keep that fit within my balanced bites? Now, when you're done with that process, what you have essentially done is you've taken the food that you like and you've created a list of foods that you can now continue to eat. And it's not that you can't continue to eat the other food, but now you know, okay, these are the ones that are probably the best for me. And notice what I did. I didn't scrap your entire pantry. I created a list from the things that you normally eat anyway. And that's a better way of doing it than going home and saying, okay, let's throw everything away and let's start from scratch. Because when I created a menu, right? The one that we did on the show, I created that menu. And I went through and I did all of the things that we know to do. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this out and put that in and all the foods. And then when I finished with that 7-day menu that I had created, I looked at it and said, you know what? A lot of this stuff on here, I don't even eat. It's healthy for me. That's what they told me. But I don't even eat this stuff. And then I went back. And that was the second part of what we did last night, was I showed you the different things that because we have eating patterns. We all have eating patterns. Patterns that come from our family of origin. Patterns that come from the people we grew up with. Patterns that come from circumstance, right? We have to eat a certain way because of finances, patterns that come from our cultures, patterns that come from our taste buds. And so we all have them. And so for me to take somebody, right? And we have people who come to our office who are, various ages. And for me to say to someone who walks into the office, right? They just diagnosed with diabetes, for example. And they walk in and they come to me because blood sugars are high. And I say to them, hey, I'm going to come up with a menu for you. And I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks. So typically my patients come back to see me 2 weeks after their first visit. And when you come back in 2 weeks, you better have scrapped everything that you've done for the last 75 years. That's essentially what I'm saying. And that is, first of all, unfair. It sets them up for failure. It sets me up for frustration. And then we are like two ships passing in the night. We don't have any commonality. And so when we talk about balanced bites, right, the goal of balanced bite is to give you a structure to think about your food. It is not a diet. It is not something you're going to do for a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. It is now the way that you think about food. And if you do that, then you will find that it will give you the best possibility of success of reversing the things we talk about when we talk about insulin resistance. Right? Whole foods, minimize processing, no added sugar, lean protein and healthy snacks, healthy fats, starchy, non-starchy vegetables, tasty, flavorful, portion controlled. Often it's not that we're eating the wrong thing, it's that we're eating too much of the right thing, if there's such a thing. Okay? And if you follow that, if you follow balanced bites, you will find that you will have good success. All right. So that's food. Now, let's walk through the health action plan. Remember, the health action plan says that we've got this three-tiered process that we are talking about. And it is that we are starting with walking, right? Walking, fasting. We've got balanced bites. We've got strength training. That is the health action plan. And it is a blueprint for what we are going to do, how we go about writing our metabolism. That is the important part of all of this. So as you're walking through the process, as you're looking through the process, this is where you are hanging your money. It's kind of like being in an airplane. I want the guy. Let me go put this up. Yeah. So I want the guy who is flying the airplane, or the gal who's flying the airplane. I want them to come in and I want them to grab a checklist. And I want them to go through the checklist. Okay, the tires are good. The engine is good. We've got enough fuel. I didn't even know what they do up there, but I want them to go through the list. I don't want you just rushing in and hopping in the seat and, strapping in and grabbing grabbing the stick. No, that's not what I want. We do lists, we do checklists, we do processes in every area of our lives. At your house right now, there's a certain way that, at least at our house, there's a certain way I'm supposed to wash. Right? I'm supposed to wash this clothes with that clothes, not that clothes with this clothes. There's a process. There's a thing in there. Right? I'm supposed to load the dishwasher in a certain way. Right? Not supposed to do it, just throw everything in. Right? Hands up. This is a way that you do it. And we do that for everything. But when it comes to our health, we kind of wing it. Like, it's going to be okay. And it can't be a winging anymore. And so the process that you're going to walk through, the process that you're going to go through says that I have to have a structured way of managing the things that I need to write my metabolism. And if you do that, you will find that you have the best possibility of success, and you will have tremendous improvement in metabolism and tremendous improvement in all the different areas that we talk about. All right, so let's hop over and let's see. I think I see some of our community members. Let's see what we got there. And so I hope that explains to many of you. Let's see. Let's get back over here. Pam, okay, we said hi, Steve. Hello, everyone from Steve. Gian says hi, Doctor. Bowie says hi, Gian. Hi, Pam. Hi, Bowie. Hi, Steve. Everybody saying hello. Hi, Doctor, and everyone. Hey, Gian. Hey, Cornelia. Pam is saying hey to Cornelia and hello. And my man, okay, everybody, Anthony Paul, Dr. Paul, my man, thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. So glad that you're here. Oh man, blast from the past. One of our professors. So glad that you're here. All right, so if you got a question, go ahead and drop those in the comments, because we want to make sure that we answer those. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull up a couple of things. One is what has been happening on the channel. What's been happening on the channel in lots of different spaces, and there are 2 series that we've done, and they are part of our MOVE campaign, right? So metabolic optimization via exercise. Metabolic optimization via exercise. And so you'll see there, that's me, right, out in my work area. So people say, hey, I can't exercise because I don't have time to go to the gym. And so what I did was I created in a space, and I took some of my wife's space, by the way. I should say my wife's space. It's our space, but she uses it. In a sunroom. And I've got a little section in the sunroom, and this is mine. This is my area. So I got some weights. I put them out there, and I am out there every morning, right? If you've not joined us yet, I'm out there every morning, and I'm lifting. I'm doing some strength training, because remember, when you strength train, those glute receptors, they suck up sugar without insulin. That's the beauty of this. Okay, so we've got that there. So we're walking through that process. We're on day number 40 right now. So if you've not joined us yet, go ahead and join us. They're simple things, and all the exercises that we're doing are practical exercises, right? Now, we're doing some of this because we're trying to shape the body, and I'm working on my beach body, by the way, right? So you'll see that. So I'm working on my beach body. So we're doing practical exercises. So as we're doing those curls, you know what those curls are? Those curls are like you getting some groceries from your car, and you're lifting it up. When we do the presses, right? What is with that? You're putting something up over your head. When we do the squats, right? You are learning how to not use your back when you're lifting. All of those. When we do our balance, when we do our knee swings. Let me see. Do I have? Yeah, there we go. Right. So we're doing some squats. So we're not just doing stuff for doing stuff. We're doing things that are setting us up for the best possibility of success. So that is the health action plan. It says that we're going to walk through this process together, and we are writing our metabolism. We're working to make sure that we can do what we need to do to be healthy. Awesome. I said a couple of things, right? Because, well, let me go back over here. And then let me pull this back up. So the other thing that happened, and you'll recall if you were following us, that we had our 100-day walk to consistency and health, right? 100-day walk to consistency and health. Let me go ahead and pull one of those up. So we did that for 109 days, because we did 100 days, and then we did a what's called the bridge to mastery, where we kind of walked now and we talked about the things that we were doing, and you got a chance to hang out with me for those 100 days, and we did some walking, we did some teaching, we did some talking. All of that was with the intention that we're setting a space, we're creating a space so that you every day can have a spot where you are doing something for your health. Remember, rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Often people don't succeed, not because they don't have desire, not because they don't have motivation, not because even they don't have know-how. They don't succeed because they don't have structure. And so the structure that we provide in the morning every day at 6 a.m. is for you, when we walk, right? And also when we strength train. So if you're just joining us, it's not too late. Go back and find the very first episode that we did when we started walking and walk through the process, right? So you're now 150 days worth of time in the morning where you get to come aside and do something for your health. And remember, that's what Limitless Living says. It says that we have the ability to make changes for our lives when we show up consistently. And that brings us to our Triple E formula for success. Everything that we do is with the intention that we are educating, we're empowering, and we're encouraging. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcast. All of that is with the idea of changing our mindset, giving you a different perspective, helping you to understand what's going on in your body, helping you to understand what the things you do, the effects that they have. All of that is changing the mind, because there are things that you will learn, things that you're learning that you never thought about. And now you have to think about them because you've gotten the information. And then we empower. The tools that we're learning, the walking, the strength training, the health action plan, the HEAT model, the COPE model, all of these are the tools that allow you to put into practice the things that we are learning and the things that we are, the mindset that we're changing. And then we encourage with this amazing community that you are part of, that you are helping to build. If you've not joined our community, you got to make sure you do that, right? So there should be a button down here somewhere that says join. When you join, you are joining a group of like-minded individuals. Now, let me give you one of the things. When you're in community, when you say something that resonates with the community, you don't have to explain. Like right now, right? I've got some Cadbury chocolate in the refrigerator. Yeah, I've got some Cadbury chocolate. Now, everyone who's in the community understands what that means. When I talk about food noise, people who are in the community understand what that means. You don't have to explain. And so having camaraderie, having people who are lifting you up, people who are pushing you, people who are helping you move in a direction to be successful is very important. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. And that's everything is built on the Triple E formula for success. I'm always excited when I get here, when I'm here with you. We will be back tomorrow when we do our full check-in for full review, check-in and review. You get to see what I eat to break the fast. Yeah. If you have some comments, if you have some recommendations, some suggestions, go ahead and drop that in the comments. You get to see what I do. You get to hear us as we walk through the process of preparing for a fast, how we get through the fast, how we end the fast. We will be back on Saturday for Video from the Vault at 9 p.m. Central, and then on Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Central for This Week in Review. One of the things I want to say is that I am so excited for those of you who have joined us over the course of the last several weeks as we've gone live at right around noon, 12, 1 o'clock, as we start our fast. So you get to see what I eat to begin. Sorry, let me say not to begin. You get to see what I eat as my last meal prior to the fast. We do our check-in, so those of you who fasted with me the first day. We do our check-in the second day, those of you who fasted. We do our check-in on the third day, those of you who checked in with us and are planning to fast starting today into tomorrow. Kudos to all of you. And of course, those of you who are doing the complete fast, I'm excited for that as well. Okay? So come on back, join us. For the community members, we'll have our link up here in just a minute so you can join me after the show. And by the way, let me say that. Maybe that's something else I've got to say. I told you I'm going to pull up 3 things, but I'm going to pull up two things. I'm gonna pull up another thing. So for our community members that are there, when you're in the community, there are some things that I do. There are some videos that you get that I do, and these videos are videos that I do in addition to these lives that we're doing right now. Okay, and so we get messages that I send out to our community members. In fact, here's one. I'm gonna go there. Here's one that I did. I think this was this yesterday? I think this was yesterday, as we talked to our community members and say, hey, what's going on? And we got a special message for them. Come join us. Come hang out with us. You will be amazed at how beneficial being in community is. Anyway, so I am Dr. Dwain Woode, and I'm always saying that I'm excited to be here with you, and I am. I can't say enough about the community. Thank you for being part of it. I educate, I empower, and I encourage. Take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. Create the life you've always wanted. And go live a limitless life, which says that I'm not allowing anything outside to prevent me from doing what I need to do. I'm presenting my best self, my best health, and my best plans. I'm breaking free from the constraints and the boundaries and doing what I need to do to be successful. Thanks for being here. Good night. We'll see you at our next episode, and I'll see our community members after the show here in just a minute. Good night, everybody.